My son's best friend's parents have been letting my son hang around them a lot, like almost too much to the point where I'm uncomfortable with it, but I really appreciate their help and I'm doing everything I can to give my son a better life. I, 24F, am a single mom to my son, Owen, 8M. It's been just us since day one. His father isn't in the picture and has been able to avoid child support for years now. Yes, I've tried everything. My own parents disowned me. I had to drop out of high school and have worked a myriad of jobs since then to keep us afloat. We aren't on the poverty line by any means, but we definitely live paycheck to paycheck in a one-bedroom apartment. It's not ideal, and I hope within the next couple years we'll be someplace bigger. For now, it's our situation. I've raised Owen to know that money isn't everything. We may not have a lot. He won't always have the newest this or that, but we have each other. The two of us are very close. He has never gone without the basics, but I admit he doesn't get a lot of fun extras. I try to save a little here and there to make birthdays and holidays fun, but it's still never anything glamorous. And I think Owen was fine with that until recently, anyways. In our area, all the public schools are based on a lottery system, so your child has a fair shot of going to any of them, so long as you put in your name. Our neighborhood school is not great and in a pretty crappy area, so I decided to put him in a different one across town. It's near my job, so it works out. Last year, when he was in second grade, he met Charlie. They began hanging out a lot after school, with Owen going to his place. I met Charlie's parents, Nate and Paige, a couple of times before this began. They seemed very nice and supportive. Owen always had a great time at their house. Charlie occasionally came to our apartment, but usually they were at his place, which made sense. I work and there's not really much for them to do here, even when I am off. Summer breaks are easy to find care as there are several free or low-cost camps that I can put Owen in. It's the shorter breaks, such as Christmas and spring, that are harder. Camp space is limited. Spring break of 2022, I managed to just miss registration. Paige is a stay-at-home mom and offered to take Owen for the week. I was hesitant to ask so much of her, but she insisted. He had a really fun time with them. They did a ton of activities and Paige refused my attempts to pay her back at least some. I couldn't afford all of it. I admit, I did feel a tad uncomfortable with her spending this much on my son, but at the same time, I didn't want to deprive Owen of this stuff. Summer came, and while I did get Owen into camp, he spent a ton of time with Charlie as well. He ended up going on vacation with them. I was again very hesitant, but the experience was something I could never give Owen, and it wasn't too far away. He had a blast. I keep telling Nate and Paige that there's no way I could ever pay them back. They kept insisting that they loved having Owen around. They told me what a great kid he is, sweet, respectful. At one point, I really pressed Paige as to why she was so insistent on having Owen around so much. That's when she told me that they never planned for Charlie to be an only child, but all attempts at giving him a sibling just didn't happen. We know that Owen will never make up for not having a brother, but if they can give him a consistent playmate so he's not lonely, they'll do it. Should this have been a red flag? Maybe. But at the same time, I found it sweet that the boys considered each other brothers. I thought it was innocent. Surely Paige and Nate know the truth, right? Right? That's not good. This continued for a bit, and come Christmas break of 2022, Paige and Nate insisted that I not even bother to try to get Owen into a camp. They take care of him for me. Ooh, that's like a big red flag for me, bro. That's like 2 whole weeks at least. 2.5? Just where you're not seeing your kid like at all, except for like visits. Anyways, I was grateful. They ended up getting him more Christmas gifts than I did. I tried to set my pride aside because it was about Owen, not me. This is still when things finally started seeming off to me. I understood a gift on his birthday, and while they didn't get him as many gifts as they got Charlie, it was a lot more than you would typically get your kid's friend. Fast forward to now. Spring break was last week, and this time, Paige and Nate didn't just offer to take care of him during the day while I worked. They asked if Owen could spend the entire week at their house. Honestly, it meant I could pick up some more shifts and save up for the bike Owen wants for his birthday, so I said yes. I went to pick him up on Saturday afternoon. The kids were playing out back, so Nate and Paige asked to talk to me. They sat me down and said they love Owen and he's always such a joy to have. I thanked them profusely for all they'd done for him. Paige suggested that Owen stay a little longer. I pointed out Easter was Sunday, plus school started on Monday. They said they could take him to school. I felt weird and said no, it was time for Owen to come home. That's when Nate said that Owen should stay with them long term. I could still see him, but they would take care of him. I thought they were joking and said, like what? You'd be his guardians or something? They got quiet and reality rushed over me. I pointed out that this wasn't a movie. They can't just get custody. They started spouting some legal stuff about how I could assign them as guardians and they would help make this transition smooth. They told me to think about Owen and what's best for him. I told them there's no way in hell I was going to give up my son. I grabbed Owen and we left. I've blocked their numbers. Owen has no clue what's going on. I'm keeping him home tomorrow and took the day off work to figure some stuff out. Legally, they can't take him, but now I know what they want and I'm terrified. I don't want him going back to that school. Do we move? I'm so lost and I feel so stupid because looking back, all the warning signs were there. I know Owen is going to be devastated losing Charlie, Paige, and Nate. How am I ever going to explain this to him? Well, I think the bigger issue isn't explaining it to him, but rather the fact that these people are trying to take your son away, which I mean, obviously legally, like you pointed out, isn't possible, but it's a really scary fact. I mean, her son was at these people's house forever, but I also understand why she never really considered it because she just wanted what was best for her son, as most parents want for their kids. And these people just seem so nice, but like you can never judge a book by its cover. Like these people are actually trying to take your son away. Just because what? They can't have another son of their own? Anyways, there's an update made by them later that day that says, there's no way I can respond to everyone, so I just want to say thank you for the advice. While I understand those saying they potentially meant well and weren't trying to be offensive, it's still a risk I can't take. It's not like they offered to take him every so often. They wanted him full time, permanently. To those who said I should just let him, please mask me whatever drugs you're on. I will never give up my son. Do we have the newest this or that? No. We have our needs met. I love my son and I'm not letting him go. W mom, bro. As for everyone else, I took your advice and reached out to the school. I told them that Paige and Nate are no longer allowed to pick up Owen and explained I do not feel safe with them around each other. They understood. There's not much they can do outside making sure they never pick him up. If it's too late in the year to move classes, but next year, Charlie and Owen will not be in the same class. I notified the police, but again, they can't do much. We have zero in writing, and a simple request to have my child isn't really breaking any laws. Unfortunately, all I can do is hope they don't try anything. I still haven't spoken to Owen. I think it's fine if he talks to Charlie and plays with him at school, but I have to find a way to explain why they can't have playdates or sleepovers, as well as to never go anywhere near Nate and Paige. I guess that'll come in time. I'll update again if anything happens. I'm hoping this is the end. As some of Nate and Paige's defenders said, they did take my no well, so hopefully they realize how totally out of bounds they were and leave us alone. Dude, what's crazy about this is that people are actually defending Nate and Paige as if they're like some saints. Like this mom, of course they can't give their son everything, but it's not like she's clearly a great mother taking care of her child doing whatever she can. It's just she hasn't been as fortunate with her life or whatever may have happened. I don't know. I mean, she got pregnant at 16 in high school and then her parents disowned her, so she's done great to be where she is, but it's just unfortunate that she couldn't give her son the best experience. But that doesn't mean stealing her child and trying to adopt them out of her own hands when she doesn't want that. It's crazy that people can defend that. But anyways, there's another update the next day in the comments as well, which says Monday night I talked to Owen and explained that Nate and Paige were not safe. He was confused and I explained that they wanted to take him away from me. I think it spooked him as he started crying, saying he didn't want to leave me and he didn't want to see them again. I held him and assured he wasn't going anywhere. Uh, yeah, you probably could have done that better, to be honest. I mean, just telling your son that these random people who were being super nice to you were actually trying to take you away is probably not the way I would have gone about that. But there's no other way for him to really understand at 8 years old. So it's just the unfortunate, harsh reality of the situation. He understands he is never going to go anywhere with them and that the school is taking measures to protect him. I said he could still talk and play with Charlie at school. He said he doesn't want to. I was honestly worried he'd hate me, but you were all right. Telling him the full story made him realize how serious it was. He understands the gifts and trips will stop, and he says he's all right with it. Also, I wanted to address one last thing. I've gotten a few people offering me money or gifts. Please do not do that. I am very appreciative, but that was not the purpose of this post. If you wish to do something, donate to your local shelter or other charity. Owen and I am not in need. I'd rather see it go to people who need it. I didn't see Nate or Paige at drop off, nor have I gotten any contact, but then again, I did block them everywhere. Thank you for all your help. I'll update if anything else happens. Hopefully, it won't. Well, there's another update posted 4 days later, so clearly something else does happen. So let's get into it. I've tried to post this update in True Off My Chest, but it keeps getting auto deleted. Since I have so many followers, I figured I'd update here and hopefully it gets around. Well, what everyone feared would happen did. Tuesday, he returned to school. I told him he could still talk and play with Charlie. I was hesitant to drop him off, but figured you can't live in fear. Most afternoon, my son takes the bus to a local rec center for aftercare. I had already told the school everything and that Nate and Paige were not to pick Owen up. I managed to call and even make sure he got on the bus. Aftercare was also made aware of the change in the pickup list. Well, a half hour later, I get a call that Paige had tried to pick up my son. The front desk refused to release him. Didn't say why, just that she was no longer on the list. She wouldn't leave and the police were called. She was escorted out of the building. While she wasn't brought to jail, there's a police report and I am using this to go to court and get an order of protection. Paige and Nate are also banned from the rec center, so if they do show up, they will get arrested for trespassing. The police are working on ways to protect us, and the local social services office has been made aware of the situation. So, should they try to make a claim, they're aware of it. Wow. I did not expect these people to actually go and try and pick up her son and take him. I mean, it's great that she told her son all this because they're just showing their true colors right here. And now I'm just glad for the actual mom and her son because she is clearly locked in on not letting this slide at all. There is a third update though, and it's titled An Update on Our Lives 2 Years Later, so this should be interesting. I didn't realize it's been fully 2.5 years since I gave an update on our lives, but I thought about this whole saga recently, found the account, and realized 3,000 of you follow this now. Plus, it seems I still get requests for an update. That's crazy. People are following up for over 2 years to get you the update. But hey, I don't want to know what happens too with this crazy lady that's trying to take your son away. So after this happened, I wanted to stay in the area we lived in. If anything, because I couldn't afford to move us. I ended up transferring Owen to a different after school program. He still remained friends with Charlie at school. Apparently, even Charlie would call parents weird and say he was angry with them for making it so Owen couldn't go over there after school. The rest of the year passed by awkwardly, but initially, the school did a good job of making sure Nate and Paige were not anywhere near my son. I was told they wouldn't be allowed to volunteer anymore, as Paige often did prior to everything. Summer soon came, Owen started his usual camps, and I thought all was well. I had initially been told that the boys would not be put in the same class the following year. It had been too late in the year to move either of the boys. But when I brought Owen to school on the first day, I saw Charlie's name on the door. It's a small school, and they have a unique last name, so I knew it wasn't a coincidence. I spoke with the principal and was told it was impossible to keep them set in separate classes, and there were factors I just couldn't possibly understand. I regretfully didn't fight as hard because I assumed Paige and Nate were still banned from volunteering. It was like a horror movie receiving a letter from the room moms of the class. Typical letter I receive every year talking about fundraising volunteer opportunities, when they raise money for their teacher gifts, etc. Paige's name was right at the bottom. I once again spoke to the principal and was told that they couldn't keep Paige away from the school. She donated a lot of money, was great with the kids. They said since we had no incidents in 5 months at that point, we had to let it go. Yo, that's crazy. She's been donating a bunch of money to these schools. I mean, imagine if she's tried to kidnap some other person's kid by doing the same exact thing that she's been doing to Owen and his mom. I mean, that's honestly scary to think about that the school is just kind of letting this slide, but I guess from the school's perspective, shit, they they need all the money they can get. So I don't know if I can blame the school. I mean, just actually I can blame the school because what the heck, that's crazy. But still, anyways, I tried to. I thought maybe things have changed, but it brought me so much anxiety every time I thought about that woman near my son. The school was refusing to protect him. What if things hadn't changed? I debated switching schools, but this was the best in our area, and I couldn't afford private. I prepared my son. He said he wouldn't try to go with her and would scream if she tried to take him. Oh, W son. Yes, that's what you need to do, bro. This woman cannot be next to you because she cannot be trusted. Sure enough, first class party of the year, my son said Paige was there, and Owen said she kept trying to talk to him. She kept asking him to come over and even wanted my new phone number. I changed it for obvious reasons after everything went down. Thankfully, Owen knew better, but I just saw the rest of the year flashing before my eyes. Paige finding ways to be around my son, potentially breaking him down. Since the school didn't give a shit, I had nightmares of them letting her kidnap him. I knew we couldn't stay long, but again, I was broke, working a crap job, and I couldn't just pack up and leave. So I started applying to some new jobs out of our city. As it was, I had one job working in retail, but I picked up house cleaning and occasionally some babysitting shifts in between. I took a chance and applied for a live in nanny position in a city about 3 hours away. I didn't think I'd have a shot at it, especially as I had a kid. But I met with the parents and they were so kind, so sweet. They were more than happy to let me bring Owen with me and let us live with them. They had an in law suite I could live in as long as I was working there. It was only one bedroom, but Owen and I were used to that. He was a little sad about leaving his friends, but we jumped at the opportunity. I admit, I was nervous to put ourselves in a similar situation as before. What if these people enticed my son and wanted to take him? But thankfully, they weren't like that. They were kind to Owen, but they maintained boundaries. I eventually told them our story, and they were horrified that this had ever happened to us, and assured me they would never try to take my son. I was making better money living with them, and since I didn't have rent or utilities to worry about, I was able to save up more than usual. Owen thrived in his new school. The best part was, he got to spend time with me and the little ones I took care of. No more crazy hours, no more after school programs. After 8 years, we finally caught a break. The family recently outgrew their need for a nanny, but they were happy to help me find a new job. This position isn't live-in, but I was able to save up to put a down payment on a condo. Let's go! This is the W update we needed. Something I never thought would happen. For the first time in 10 years, Owen has his own room, something that both excited him, but he was also a little scared. With the help of my old bosses, who are now good friends of ours, we were able to decorate. And my new bosses are so kind and again, totally fine with me bringing their baby with me to pick up Owen and having him around. I haven't heard from Nate and Paige since April of 2023. My son occasionally mentions Charlie, and I know he misses his buddy, but he's also relieved about where we are. I hope for Charlie's sake that his parents have calmed down, maybe they've learned from their lesson, if anything, so they won't prey on another woman in my situation. I don't speak to anyone from our old city, there's no friends there, so I have no way of knowing. Sorry if that is not a fun update, but that's where we are. Happy, healthy, and doing well. I'm 26 now, but many days I feel like I'm 42. I'm in a new relationship now, dating seriously for the first time since Owen was born. I have a group of friends who are also nannies. It took me 8.5 years to gain a support system. Still, I haven't spoken to my parents. Owen's father will never be a part of the picture, but we finally have a family. Still, he often tells me that if it all went away like Nate and Paige did, he'd be happy with just us. God, he knows how to make his mama cry. Anyways, thank you for all the support and concern over the years. Much love to you all. Well, unfortunately, we're not reading the story over a couple years. We're reading it over a couple minutes, but this is a great update. And I never even considered how emotionally damaged Charlie was going to be from knowing that his parents are basically aliens who are trying to abduct another child. I never even thought about that. But yeah, as parents, they are not setting a good example for their kid, and I just hope he grows up to be a better person than they are, that's for sure. A lot of the comments are just about how happy they are for her and that she made it out of that situation. But one of them is really striking to me. It says, "Oh wow, so happy for you. It's horrible how money talks. You must have been unbelievably anxious that whole school year. Wishing you both all the best." And yeah, it's crazy that Paige could just buy her way into Owen's life without the school being able to really do anything about it because they didn't want to lose her financial support. I mean, this woman is literally trying to abduct this child, and the school is just like, "Oh, you give us money? Oh, we don't care anymore, so that's not our problem. I'm gonna look past it, and you can go talk to this kid who you're trying to steal." I mean, that's crazy to me, but that's gonna be the end of the story, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day.